Hello, this is Nana speaking to you from Berlin in Germany, and today I'm wearing my Rib Tee by Knitting for Olive, which is this one. I knitted in navy blue merino by Knitting for Olive as a long sleeve. Today I'd like to talk about all the hats and headbands I've knit, because I think knitting hats is an art in itself if you aim at knitting something that really has the right circumference. So I find it really difficult to knit a hat that is neither too tight nor too loose and is not itchy and really plays in favor with the shape of your skull. Okay, let's get into it. With the first hat, which I knit many years ago, it is this one. It's knit in some sort of camel yarn, and unfortunately I cannot remember what brand it was. I just went to a store and it was super soft and I thought I'm gonna make something with it. And yeah, I drafted it myself. It has this pompom, so it's not very like contemporary anymore, but yeah, I still like it. I sometimes wear it. I like the color. It goes with many things in my outfit, and it also has a good thickness, so you really have the feeling that it keeps you warm. So that's the first one, but it is a bit too long and too loose, and I think I will do some post-processing modifications as I did for the others. I will show you in a minute. Yeah, so this is the first hat that I knit, I don't know, 2016, 17, before the great break of me knitting anything. And then my next hat is the weekend hat by PetiteKnit. And actually I knit 3 of those. And the first one is made of leftovers of my No Frills sweater. So the yarn, this is the Sunday by Sandnes Sunny Lime, together with the Kamerose Midnighter Sole in the color Lime. And yeah, so I had enough left for a hat, and that's what I did with it. And as you can see, it is quite sloppy or floppy, or like, yeah, not very sturdy. And you have these folding lines and they always shift, and that's a bit annoying. So I have still not managed to secure the edge. I want to sew it onto the hat because this feels annoying. But this is one of my most worn hats because it is not sturdy, because it is so floppy and loose, because here I really have the feeling that it doesn't squish my hair too much. And when it's not super windy, this is my go-to hat, I would say. So I was quite pleased with the design. So you also have this beautiful crown shaping with these decreases that make this nice stitch pattern. And I wanted to knit another one, a red one. I was always dreaming of a red beanie, and I knit this one again with the Sunday by Sandnes Held Double, the color Poppy, my favorite red of this Sandnes yarn, and it turned out too tight. So the same size, and I also didn't gauge swatch, I have to admit. I thought if I knit it in the same size, it will be okay. And it could, like, there was room for it to be tighter, but yeah, it turned out too tight. And when a hat is too tight, it always kind of like over time moves up your head. So that looked really silly. And yeah, that was a bit disappointing, but stuff like this is always a good gift knit. And I knew that my sister-in-law has a smaller hat than I do, and I gave it to her and she wears it now all the time. It's her, I think, one of her favorite hats. So that was really good. I always like it when you can still get aware of it, even if it's by another person. But yeah, I still like the pattern and I wanted to make another one and to give it another go to find really the perfect combination of yarn. So I made another weekend hat by PetiteKnit. So I really like this triple fold, which gives it some structure and shields the wind. And here I used the alpaca wool by Sandnes together with a beige Midnighter Sole by Camarose, and this is the perfect, I would say, the perfect fabric that I created. So big recommendation if you're thinking about knitting the weekend hat by PetiteKnit, and also like how these folding things, like these line hold up. In my experience, it very much depends on the yarn. It's not really so much a matter of the pattern that it doesn't work. If you have the right yarn, it will stay in place and it will look good. Yes. However, the thing with alpaca is that alpaca has these fine hairs that stick out and they are itchy. So I was wearing this, and even when the yarn feels very soft and it's soft in other garments, over time it starts itching at the forehead, or like it's prickly and you're all the time like this. So I did some lining. I lined it with some cotton jersey, and in my experience this is really what makes a knitted hat fully functional in the end. Like if you want to wear it out and about in the weather, when there's wind, when there's cold, when you really need a hat to protect you from the elements, then knitted hats, like hand knit hats, even if they have like a triple folded brim, they are not airtight. So if it's really strong wind, it will blow through it. And the itching, the thing that you feel the yarn, especially when you're, I don't know, when you go hiking and you're sweating on your forehead. I don't really like the feeling. So, but when I put some cotton inside, all of this is fixed. All of this is sorted, and I get so much more wear out of this than if I wouldn't have done it. How I first noticed how much a knit headband or knit hat can benefit from some cotton inlay or inlet was when a good friend of mine gave me this beautiful headband. I think it's crochet. And I was so happy about it, but it was too large. It was actually quite a lot too big. And also the stitch pattern, the wind could just go right through it. So I wanted to rescue this piece, and because I really wanted to wear it. And that's when I just stitched some cotton fabric to the inside. And I really did a quick and dirty job here. You can do it much nicer, but for me it was more important that it's functional and that I actually do it. That's when I that's when I've sewn this cotton fabric to the inside of this headband. I could adjust the size because this cotton thing has this right circumference, so this fits me very well. And by sewing the crochet headband to it, everything falls into place and stays into place. Yes, so that was a game changer, and I've worn this so much, because she gifted this to me a couple of years ago before I started knitting again. So I wore this every winter. Yes, the next hat that I knit was I bought one super fluffy ball of yarn. It was some Lana Grossa, I think. And I knit this hat. So that was actually funny. The ball of yarn I bought was pink. This pink. And the more I knit with it, the more orange it turned. So I don't know, I think it must have been some production mistake. So it has now a funny gradient of from more pink at the brim to more orange at the top, but I don't mind. I think it has some charm as well. And I used almost exactly one ball. I had a little bit left over, and this is self-drafted. So I started by purling and then switched to knitting so that I could create this folded brim, and it all looks like a stockinette stitch. And in the end, here on the top, I think I didn't do any decreases. I just pulled it together. And as you can see, the fit couldn't be worse. So this is not sitting tight at all. However, this has been also together with the green, also not very well fitting weekend hat, been my most worn hat. I will insert here pictures that give you a better impression. But because it is so loose and because it is so hairstyle friendly, this is what I throw on when I just go out of the house and when I have an appointment in the city. Because I can trust this one quite well that it won't destroy my hair totally. Yes. So, and also hats are, to me, are a very nice way how to add a pop of color to an outfit. So especially like winter jackets, outer wear is normally very dark. I have a dark green winter coat and a dark green jacket, and I like to spice it up with some color. So yes, and this is also super soft. It's not itchy at all. However, like I once wore it in Copenhagen and there was very strong wind and I had to hold it to my head. So this would be totally blown off by strong winds because it is so loose. But I think it's good to have something like this in your winter accessories wardrobe because, yeah, as I said, it is fluffy, it is comforting when you put it on, it gives you some warmth, but it doesn't destroy your hair so much. Self-drafted, 1 ball of yarn, love it. Then, next was a pattern again. So actually I only purchased 3 patterns, hat patterns. The weekend hat by PetiteKnit, the hipster hat, but this is for my partner. Maybe I will show you in a sec. And Beanie No.6 by My Favorite Things Knitwear. So this is one of my most recent knits. I knit it in, I don't know, January, February. Here it is. It is this beautiful chilling hat type piece of knitwear. I adore it. It's so nice. I love this, I don't know, is it 70s style? I guess so. And I used the Boucle Teddy Deer by Headband in the color, I can't remember, I put it on the screen, and the Wulia by Headband. Also, I used the first time the Wulia. It's a very nice yarn. I would like to make a sweater with it actually. And I also chose to knit those ridges in the boucle she offers, or like she suggests that you can also do it in the non-boucle yarn, but I like it as it is here. And yeah, it's a triple folded brim, and that makes it super warm and cozy. I have not yet attached it. I will attach it because it can become annoying if it shifts up and down, because if it shifts down you always see that there is a bit of like this boucle underneath, and I don't like that. Yes. And I should block it. You can still see some stitch unevenness here. Yeah, but I think this one is really, people say, oh, what a cool hat. You know, it's not just a hat. It's like a next level hat. Yes. So, however, I think it's a bit too small for me. The edge, the brim is totally fine, but with this being a bit of a more sturdy construction and fabric, it kind of like, if it's a bit too small, it will pull up the beanie or the hat over time. And yeah, I actually fancy a dark one as well, like a dark brown teddy yarn and a dark brown crown thing. So maybe I will give it another shot and knit a size large, because yeah, as I now mentioned multiple times, a larger hat is better than a smaller. Yes. But big recommendation. This is super nice, and also like how it is constructed. She for the ridges, she lets you knit pearl lines here, onto which from the other side you anchor those rich yarn on too. Yeah, I really like it. And last but not least, the last hat I knit, I think I finished it in February, so fairly recently, is also something that I drafted myself. And I had some blown yarn left in my stash, a bright red one, Brigitte #2 by, I don't know, I have to check, Lana Rossa or something. And I wanted to have a striped hat, but not with vertical lines, but in the round. And I was actually inspired by Hanan, another YouTuber here, knitting YouTuber, who talks a lot about brown. And I also like brown a lot. So because first I thought I combine it with a beige, but I think this brown is much nicer. And yeah, in my sock video I talked about irregular striping. This is now my third piece. I have a t-shirt, the socks, and this one in irregular stripes, so not evenly distributed, but random stripes, and I love it. Yeah, this is really my thing. And yeah, blown yarn is not, I don't know, I think it's not the best for hats because it's also really not tight, like it's not holding up so well. And this one also turned out a bit too large, especially I blocked it and then it like really grew a lot. But also here I fixed it with some lining, some cotton I put into it. And yeah, I think this is now my most favorite hat. I wore it like, at the moment I like it even a bit better than Beanie No.6. It is a bit the same style. It is also a bit like a shearling, the shape. It has quite a shallow crown. It is quite round. Can you see it? Yeah. So maybe if I would knit it again, I would lift this a little bit. But I like very much how I constructed the brim. And this is also triple folded, but I've sewn it to the head. And so I don't have anything going on with this like shifting downwards or whatever, so it stays where it is and I love it. It's really nice. So yeah, I think a crucial thing about hat knitting is, or knitted hat, is the ratio between the thickness of the brim and the material for the crown, for the hat. Because if this here is too thick and this too thin, it looks weird. Like, why not just use a headband? And if you don't have a brim at all, or it's too slim, you need to have a good skull shape. I'm not one of those queens who are blessed with the beautiful skull shape. So I like to use a hat to work for me and make my skull shape look better than it actually is. And therefore, therefore I need volume at the back of the hat. That's why I like to narrow the crown quite late, or not at all, like I did here, that I just pulled it together here. Or I like to start decreasing only quite late and then still pull it together, or like have like sharp decreases, a lot of them, but that like the straight part of the head goes up quite far before it becomes more narrow. Does that make sense? Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, so this hat, I like it. It's super cozy, and now with the cotton inside. Yeah. However, speaking about hats, I'm actually more of a headband person, because 90% of the time I have my hair up in a top bun, and this doesn't go under a head because I have long hair, and then there's like too much stuff sitting on my head. So I wear headbands a lot, I would say. Like the one I showed you by my friend. And I've drafted one by myself because I had some leftover blown yarn and cashmere yarn, and I wanted to have a headband where like which goes down to cover more of the ears. I know this is a very old-fashioned shape, but my mom has one of this and I tried it on and it actually didn't look too bad on me. So okay. And I knit one in the beige and then I thought this looks really boring. I need to do something with it and I stitched some flowers on it. So here it is. I call it my Daisies headband. I actually really like it. Some improvements could be done for sure. Let me try it on. Oh, this way. Yeah, I've worn this also quite a bit. And this one has the right shape, or the right width or circumference. It's really not too tight, not too loose. It's a very nice go-to piece to spice up some outfits and make them more girly. And also, I also like the beige together with these flowers. Yeah, that's my Daisy headband. And then, since I knit a couple of times the weekend hat, and PetiteKnit has also the weekend headband, I didn't want to buy the pattern because it's quite obvious what she did there. You just have to do these double knitting seams or lines where you fold it over, and then she did a provisional cast on and kind of like stitched it together on the inside so that it is double folded. And I did a couple of those. I did one for my mom in red, then I realized I wanted one in red as well, obviously. And here it is. So this is PetiteKnit by Sandnes in Poppy together with, I don't know, a silk mohair, I guess, in the same color or in another red. But it is like, the PetiteKnit is really not the softest. I like it because it is super sturdy and it holds up shape. It's super high quality, but really you don't want to have it on your forehead. So this one I also lined with cotton. And yeah, I really like it because it is so basic. I really like this 1x1 ribbing. And a headband, in order for it to look good, it really has to have the right height. The first one I made was a little bit shorter and that already didn't feel good. So yeah, I knit this one then. And it is sometimes just 2 or 3 rows that make a big difference when it comes to headbands and what they look like. So I really like this red to pair it with like more neutral colored outerwear, but sometimes I have colored outerwear and I would like to have a more neutral headband. So I knit another one in this nice beige Millard, I think the color is. And here you can also see, I think this one, oh yeah, this one is knit only with PetiteKnit. And this one is held together with a lace yarn. And I think I made the same stitch count, but the red one is turned out significantly larger. So this one is quite loose, and this one benefited from having some inlet that is a bit smaller to keep it together. But this is also a hair-friendly version of a headband, whereas this one is really more like for hiking and working outside, and this one is tighter. You can also see it when I put it over my head, don't you? So it still works fine. And I appreciate having one like this for more like active outdoor activities. But this is how the gauge affects the size, obviously. Yes. So these are all my knit hats and headbands. The Hipster Hat. I will pick it up 1 second. Here it is. And I used the Heartegan Lima. I had 1 or 2 balls left over from my sweater number 23 by My Favorite Things. And I wanted to make a gift knit for my partner because I consider him knit worthy definitely, but it's so difficult. I don't know, he's like 2 meters tall and he wouldn't wear something that he doesn't like, and I'm still shying away from knitting a sweater for him. But smaller things, like he has a scarf and another neck warmer and now a hat. And he likes it a lot. Although I didn't have quite enough, but this is a folded brim, haha, surprise. And I added some merino on the inside. This is Knitting for Olive merino, held double. And I also did that because I didn't trust the Lima to be non-itchy. And I knew that the Knitting for Olive merino is very like nice to the skin. But I still think that I will also put some cotton in this one. He says it's okay. He doesn't want me to take on extra tasks to make this better, but I think I will still do it. Yes. So yeah, I know the internet likes lists. So what are my learnings? Like, what did I learn about head knitting from head knitting? Yarn matters. So think about, like, do you want your head to be like more tight fitting or more loose? And sometimes picking a pattern that does not suggest too many yarns is better. Like with the weekend hat, she suggests the yarn combinations that I used, but they play out totally different for the same size. So maybe if a pattern is drafted for a specific yarn, that is safer. Like Beanie No.6 is, I think she suggests 2 different yarns for the crown. Yeah, but maybe that is more like playing it safe. And my biggest learning is that a hand knit hat only is fully finished when it has some cotton inlay. Yeah, I think for most hats this is the case, unless you have like super fluffy yarn and you don't want it to be too tight. But if you really want to wear it outside and when you live in an area that is really cold and windy, yeah, it's better. And I made an entire video about it, which I'm publishing back to back with this one, which is like a small tutorial type of video in which I explain how I do this according to the 80-20 rule. Do you know the 80-20 rule? That's doing things not for 100% perfect, but good enough, which would be 80%. And by that you will achieve to finish the task in 20% of time instead of like a lot of time. And since this is a knitting podcast, I'm going to show you my whips now. So not much has changed about the sock I was showing you last time. I did a couple of more rows here along the foot, but that's it. But sweater number 23 now has 1 sleeve. The second one is still missing, but it has 1 sleeve. Yes. And I have a new exciting project because I've been sick, but not too sick. And what does that mean? When you have to stay in bed as a knitter, you knit all day. And I started an Olymp sweater vest by Le Pull, which is this one, because I had lots of scraps and I really want to clear my stash. It's really breathing down my neck, and I'm not a person who really likes to have a big stash. And over the years, too many bolts of yarn accumulated that are leftovers from projects. And I thought this is a good stash busting project. And it is. So this is how far I've come so far. So I'm already working on the ribbing at the hem. And I blocked it midway because I have so much to say about this pattern. I'm actually thinking about turning it into a separate video. Maybe not, I don't know. I think I will have it finished until the next podcast, but I have a lot to say about it. So first, I think it's a marvelous, it's a great pattern for stash busting, and I also very much like the design, but the pattern itself, it gave me a hard time in between. And I think it requires some clarifications. Yeah. So stay tuned for this one. There are no acquisitions. I want to bust that stash instead of add new things to it. Wish me luck. Wish me luck. Yeah, but with this sweater vest, I noticed that using up all the scraps even feels more satisfying than buying new yarn. So that's really nice. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I hope you liked my hats. Let me know in the comments below what your experiences are with hat knitting, and yeah, do you also sometimes take on the extra task of putting some cotton inside or not? I know that everything after binding off the knitwear feels like torture, especially if it includes sewing, but I think it's worth it. Yes, and yeah, if you liked my podcast, please give it a thumbs up. Maybe you even want to subscribe, and see you next time. Bye! I've talked too much, the tea is cold already.